made it to episode 2, Jason.
I know.
We're not out of business yet. We've been doing this shit for an entire week, and oh my god, nobody has shot us or cease and desisted us or burned down my computer or whatever the fuck it is that they do.
They haven't shot us because we've barely left the house. If I have left the house, it's going to your house. Because all we're doing is recording.
That's true. You guys, welcome everybody to Rage Select. I have been informed by some of the people who have things to say about the internet that the actual term Ragecast is used by like 6 different podcasts. So
Damn it.
We're going to change that to something else as soon as we have 2 seconds to think, because we've been front-loading the shit out of content. Anyway, I am Jeff. We have Jason here. We also have, back after hiatus, in a triumphant return, Mr. Kevin J. Baird, everybody! Woo!
Hello! Yay! I'm glad to be here. Oh, even though it's, you know...
Did you throw your back out or something?
I'm sad, you know.
Yeah.
Everything's lost now. And no, I'm kidding. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you guys are still doing this. It's very exciting.
That's what people kept asking us, you know, kind of directly after the big Inferno blaze, like, oh, are you sad? And I was like, no. You just took all the locks off, man. We could do anything now. We could make the show about cupcakes and fucking lighter fluid or whatever.
Cupcakes and lighter fluid. That's what the podcast is going to be called.
We got to change the name of everything. I got to rebrand this whole website, Cupcakes and Lighter Fluid. But Kevin, how have you been, man? It's been a long time since we have talked on a show.
Good. It's everything's fine. My situation at home is tamped down at this point, so now I'm back into some things, playing video games again, and I don't know. I'm probably not as up to date as you guys probably still are. I'm playing Dead Island Riptide at the moment. So,
I'm sorry.
Why?
That's kind of where I'm at. I get kind of like, I don't know, the zombie thing still appeals to me. I know that you hate it, but
actually, you know what? There were certain parts where I had a little bit of fun with Dead Island Riptide, but it was only because I picked the chick with the guns. And later on in that game, when you just are carrying around a bunch of guns, like I'm still thoroughly under the impression that the melee system of that game is fucked and broken. It's like, here, hit all these zombies in the head with a piece of metal that degrades after you hit 3 zombies in the face with it. Like, what?
It's totally ridiculous. No, it is totally ridiculous. But I found it a little bit easier than the first one. The first one was, the combat was just really hard because you would hit them 3 times and then they would still keep coming at you. Now I find it a lot easier. I don't know. I'll probably get sick of it soon. I mean, it's just one of those. That's where I'm at.
Okay. And then the last time I talked to you, you'd said that you were starting up the Oblast podcast.
Well, the Oblast is back, and then I was always kind of maintaining that one. That's more of like a video or like an interview type show, and then I also talk some technical talk. And then Video Game News Radio is going to come back with the original hosts, starting that one on Sundays. We're going to try using Google Hangouts to actually do that, so videos get posted right to YouTube.
Nice.
And it broadcasts live and everything. Hopefully it works. I tried to stream a video through it, and cause you can play YouTube videos right in the thing and it's supposed to record it, but it didn't. It didn't actually, it just made silence when I played the video. So that's something I still gotta work out. But,
I gotta tell you, Kevin, I was disappointed to learn that Oblast was not a podcast about female ejaculation.
It could be. We could totally have that conversation at some point.
Just a suggestion. Just throwing it out there.
It's funny. We actually bought a webcam last week, and I keep considering hey, we should do some Google Hangouts. Whatever. We could do live video anymore. And then I'll put the webcam on and I'll point it at my face and go, ugh. Nobody wants to see that. It's like I've been sleeping in the ground for years. I'm like a ghoul. Just.
He's got an entire burrito stuck in his beard.
I thought about I could just pull a saw and I'll just do all of our Google Hangouts in some kind of really scary animatronic clown mask. So I hear Kayla's got a line on some of those. So
that's right.
But you know what? We are at this point, 24 hours from our recording of this. Jason and I will be in sunny Los Angeles, California, where you can't fry an egg on the pavement like you can in here in Texas, to get ready to go and cover E3. And I wanted to talk a little bit about E3. And Jason, I'm going to poke you with this stick as I've done a few times before. Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
What are you excited about at E3?
I don't know, man. Nothing.
Aw.
Is this your first time? I know, Jeff, you've been there before, but Jason, this is your first time at E3, is it?
It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
You gotta make sure you've got really comfortable shoes, man.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the most important thing.
You know, I hadn't even thought of that.
You're going to be walking, man. Like,
I'm
so
glad
much.
you mentioned that.
It's crazy.
Now, I am actually looking forward to standing in various lines, not being able to get reliable Wi-Fi. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Don't forget the overpowering dude smell in the in the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California.
Oh my God, really?
It's the biggest sausage it's a giant video game trade show. Yes, there are booth babes technically, but like the people who are at that show, it's like 90% just greasy dudes.
Yeah, and if you want something to eat too, there's nothing. You got to go in a car and drive somewhere.
No, what are you talking about? There's like the places that'll sell you a cheeseburger for $14. It's just
well, yes. If you're a rich man, then it's fine. Yeah.
I'd like a $14 cheeseburger that's been sitting in this machine for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
While I'm standing in line, wedged between two greasy, smelly dudes for a game that is going to look good when I see it now, but then when it comes out, it's not going to look anything like what I just saw.
See, the thing for me is I'm actually thinking the closer that we get to this, we've got a few appointments set up with a few people, but I'm thinking let's just take this shit on the fringe, man. Let's cover all of the terrible garbage things from E3.
Okay.
Let's cover like Minecraft ports on like Android phones exclusively for E3.
Yeah, that's great for traffic.
Yeah, well, we don't really have any traffic now, so I mean, those of you guys who are listening, we definitely appreciate it, but we're gonna do a big push after we get back from E3. But yeah, I don't know. I keep trying to think of ways to cover E3 that aren't trying to compete with G4 because, you know.
Do they still do that thing where you get the plastic? I don't know if they did this last year, where you get, you have the plastic name badge, and then if you're like important media, like they give you like a little flag, like a little red flag. Do they still do that? Because I was thinking you guys should just make a bunch of like fake flags, because that would just confuse everyone. Like when you walk in, you've got like 7 or 8, like those like crazy communist generals where they have all those medals going down the side. You could just have tons of like flags. So you like look super important.
What if I'm going to look like somebody out of Tropico?
Well, what if I was thinking yesterday about what if we just, instead of wearing like working clothes, if we wore just like really nice suits and print up a bunch of fake business cards for like Oracle or something like that, and then just go up to the front of the lines and be like, I'm here it's my 3:00 appointment. I'm here to cover this. We were going to buy some of your equipment, and I need to get in there. What do you mean I'm not on the list? I have to pick cigar and monocle as well. We could just pretend to be really rich guys from like the 1930s. It'll be great.
If you just get some kind of TV camera, like just a camera that looks big. And even you could get one of those old VHS cameras from the 80s or something, and then with a bright light, and then just walk around, just have like NBC or something on there. And if somebody ever asks you, just be like, "Oh yeah, we're out of like some crazy town like Padunkadunk, Iowa." No one will know, but because you've got the TV camera, you'll suddenly get like they'll be just like, you can skip in line, just come forward, and you can just do whatever you want. Because television has the most play in that place.
Back to our anchor in the field, Jeff. He's got a little short skirt on and lots of makeup and hairspray.
Hey, everybody back in Des Moines, this is Jeff. I'm at E3. Let's talk to this guy over here. Hey, Randy Pitchford, come here for a second. I want to interview for the... Oh, right, the gyms. All right, run, Jason, run.
That camera was heavy. I bet it hurt to get hit in the skull with it.
Do they have... when I went in 2011, I didn't see a bunch of big burly security dudes at E3. So you have to wonder, like, if you start some shit at E3, how fast does the hammer come down? Like, really? Do you have enough time to smash and grab a PlayStation 4 out of the plastic case and then, like, just run out the front door before... I mean, it's not like Las Vegas Casino. They're going to have, like, 12 security guards to crack your head up against the pavement, right? It's a bunch of sweaty nerds and developers and stuff. They can't catch us. We're in shape, sort of.
I was about to say, we're not going to be any better. You're acting like we're supermen compared to these guys. No, dude, I get tired when I make the bed.
Yeah, you know, all my heavy smoking really does wonders for my cardio abilities. I just smash it and be like, oh, all Ocean's 11 style, smash it and I'll grab it and then we'll run and I'll get like 4 steps and be like, just 1 second, hold on.
Yeah, then it's going to be, the nerds will never catch us. And then they're like, we're never going to catch those nerds.
Well, Kevin, are you looking forward to is there anything about E3 that you're looking forward to knowing about?
I mean, it'll be interesting to see if, more details that come out about PS4 and Xbox. And I actually would like to see if there's more than one game in development for the Wii U. Because that seems like the only game console where I'm actually going to be able to, like, sell my games afterwards and all that sort of stuff. Although Sony's been kind of quiet about their plans regarding that, which is, I don't know, it's upsetting. Because I got this feeling that Electronic Arts is sort of pressuring everyone to do these weird things where they can't resell their games and everything. My brain keeps going back to them. Like, it's all Electronic Arts' fault that everything's about to change radically in gaming.
That's kind of where my money is as well, just because of a lot of the verbiage that start to come out about how, like, well, it's up to the publisher about blah, blah, blah. And I've been trying to tell people online. I mean, I was having a conversation with our friend Hi last night at the bar where he was like, what if the PlayStation 4 decides to just forego all of these DRM checks? And it's just like, fuck it, you can play whatever used game you want on our system. And it was like, I, for one, would love to see that shit. I don't think Sony has the stones, though, to stand up and go, EA? Fuck EA!
Right.
Fuck Call of Duty, we're about indie games and Ratchet and Clank, bitch!
I could see Microsoft, like, reading Kotaku or something the day that's announced, and then just muttering, you son of a bitch, Sony.
I don't know.
That would be the death. I mean, Microsoft, that would be over for them. I mean, for the console. I mean, because it's just, gamers are not that, we're not stupid. It's like, well, maybe
we're kind of stupid. We're a little stupid.
We're kind of idiots. But, I still think that if we have a choice, why would you buy the one that restricts everything? People are not going to do it. So I have a feeling Sony's going to, do the exact same thing.
Well, this actually makes a great segue into some news that I wanted to talk about. Last week there was you guys, this shit always just weirds me out. Like, there was some press and stuff on this, but I heard about this through Major Nelson's blog. I don't know, like, when Major Nelson became the mouthpiece for Xbox for everything that they've got, but they put up a few new pieces of information about the Xbox One, including some clarification for a few things. But let's start with the easy one, the one that's totally confirmed and that we were kind of hoping would not be, and I really hope they change. It has been confirmed that motherfucker has to go online once every 24 hours or else you cannot play video games on it. You can watch movies or TV, but you cannot play video games unless the thing is able to do an online check. It doesn't have to be online the entire 24 hours, but once every 24 hours it has to do a call-in back to the Microsoft servers, or you cannot play games. And we talked about this last week when we were talking about the press conference, but you can say whatever you want to. Like, Microsoft can make whatever candy-colored, well-reasoned, well-thought-out things that they want to about this. But the first time that you, the gamer, are playing your Xbox One and suddenly you're in the middle of a single-player game and it just quits and says, I'm sorry, we couldn't get in touch with the server because your internet service provider is doing maintenance or some bullshit happened, there is no explanation that is not going to keep my hair from catching on fire and me punching my Xbox through the wall like the goddamn Hulk. Like, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. The moment that happens, I am going to get in my car with my Xbox, and somebody better tell Major Nelson to open his butthole, because that is where my Xbox One is going.
Yeah, there's no only 65% of the people in the United States have broadband at this point. So there's people out in I know some people out in Ohio that basically have the worst, like, internet still, and these sorts of things are just, they're limiting their market. And I mean, I don't care. My internet is almost always on, but I don't want to have to rely on it. I don't want my cable company that delivers my internet to be like, you know what? We got to shut it down for a while because we're going to do maintenance. And then now I can't play any of my games. It's like, it's bullshit. It's like, why? If the game, look, if it's an online game, I understand. If I'm playing, Warcraft online and, World of Warcraft, and, okay, obviously if the internet's down, I can't play that game. But if I'm playing Call of Duty, single player, and it tells me I can't play because I'm not on the internet, I'm not buying this new Xbox. I'm totally going to start, I'm going to just do crafts, I think.
You're going to take up scrapbooking and maybe cross-stitch?
Macaroni, like modeling and things like that.
Oh, like arts and crafts from like 4th grade. That's
right, yeah. Construction paper.
Welcome to the Video Game News Podcast, where we talk about crafts.
I am actually really highly into Kickstarter right now, and Kickstarter independent gaming. I've actually thrown about $1,000 at different Kickstarter.
What?
No kidding.
That's crazy, man.
Well, which one are you looking forward to the most out of all the ones you've contributed to?
Every one that I've paid for that includes me in the game. That's part of the addiction, is the fact that most of them have offers where they'll like put you in the video game, and I'm just like, I have to do this. It's like the most free form of advertising, in the sense that, everybody would see it and there'd be like Kevin walking around in the game. I don't know. I'm addicted to it.
That would be the craziest thing if you managed to get yourself in so many Kickstarter games that you became like a meme for game culture, and then you became like somebody was calling you up one day like, but Mr. Baird, we would like to license your likeness as a protagonist for our new EA game about a globe-trotting game reviewer who has a bunch of adventures.
You are totally stealing my plan now. You're telling the world I want to start licensing my likeness into video games. No, it's just, I don't know. There's really a lot of creative stuff going on in the Kickstarters right now that a lot of the big companies just, they're not willing to take those risks. And there's legitimate, game companies in there that are making Double Fine, for instance, that, have multiple projects in there that they're looking for. And the fact is, most of the time when you sponsor one of these Kickstarters, it's cheaper than buying a retail game. I mean, you can get like the full game, in a lot of cases, for $10. And it's like, you got to wait a year for the game to come out. But if you plan accordingly, it's you're really going to save some money and support some really good independent stuff.
Well, Jason and I have been talking about this for a while. We've been playing, we've been playing our asses off trying to get content together so that we have enough content to go up while we're at E3. And, for the last like 6-8 months, maybe even longer than that, maybe even about a year now, I'm seeing more stuff on Steam and their indie channel that is more interesting than a lot, like say 75 to 80% of the $60 retail games that come out. Because the $60 retail games that come out, they're playing it so freaking safe these days. And the indies are the only place where anybody's just like, what if it's a game but the entire game is upside down and you play it with a Guitar Hero controller? And I'm just like, I don't know, that could be cool, maybe.
Everything's becoming homogenized because it's just like with movies. Everything is becoming, it's like creativity through committee, which rarely works. They're trying to just be really, really safe, like you said, and it's because a lot of the big games are so expensive.
Yeah.
They just keep trying to be safer and safer with it, and eventually all games will be a variation on Call of Duty. Just everything.
Everything is Call of Duty. No, after Activision won the video game wars of 2024, all games are Call of Duty. All right, well, let's get back to some of these games, some of the Xbox news. There's one little piece here that I think was really interesting for the people that are talking a lot about used games. There's one piece in here that says, and I'm still not entirely sure how this is supposed to work. So I'll do this one, then the next one. Let's see. I'm just going to read this right off the page. Xbox One will enable new forms of access for families. Up to 10 members of your family can log in and play from your shared games library on any Xbox One. Just like today, a family member can play your copy of Forza Motorsport at a friend's house. Only now they will see not just Forza, but all of your shared games. So you can always play your games, and any one of your family members can be playing from your shared library at a given time. So, Jason, you're going to need to adopt me, because we can't afford to buy 6 copies of these things. But if we're somehow related, how the fuck does that even work? Is Microsoft going to check to make sure you're not just adding your friend Jimmy to your fucking family account on your Xbox?
I think that what they're doing is that, remember how there's that Xbox, live for the whole family. You spend $100 and 4 people in the family can have the same account. And so they probably are expanding on that to 10 and then making it so, you have to share your Xbox Live membership with these people.
Oh.
That way you can't give it to some friend of yours or whatever.
But, I mean, I guess what would keep Jason from buying that and for me to make an account on there that is called Jeff Murphy? And
nothing except that you have to trust him not to go into the game store and start buying $60 games with the Xbox Live account that's on your credit card.
You can trust me, Jeff.
No, it's his account, not mine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess, I don't know. The problem here is that it seems like with all of these draconian measures that they're instituting, that they want to sew up all of the loopholes that you might be able to get around this, but then that right there seems like a gigantic loophole. Like if you and 10 of your friends all chip in for some family thing, I mean, unless Microsoft is going to start calling people on the phone and hold your ID up to the Kinect. I want to make sure your last name is what it is. Like, how are they going to keep people from just groups of friends from basically creating these networks and then just buying one copy of the game and fucking the exact scenario that they seem to be trying to avoid seems to be getting that much easier. I guess your friends could screw you over and buy a bunch of shit on your Xbox Live account, but, I mean, buying one game for you and all 10 of your friends, that seems like a pretty damn good deal to me. I don't know. I don't know how it's supposed to work.
It might just be tied to the same Xbox. Everybody in your family has to play on the same console.
Well, yeah, but it does say it can log in and play from your shared games library on any Xbox One. I don't know. This is one of those things where it just seems like the more information we get, the
other thing too is that it could just be one of those really painful, whenever I don't know if you've done this, but whenever you go to somebody else's house and you try and reclaim your Xbox account.
Oh, yeah.
And for some inexplicable reason, it takes an hour to transfer over, Yeah, I think they're doing that on purpose. So they'll just make it really painful. Like anytime Jason would want to play your game, he would just be sitting there waiting for an hour for it to transfer. And then if you wanted to play later in the day, you'd have to transfer it back. You'd be like, this is horrible. I'm never going to do this.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I really want to see, I really want more information about this. And it seems to me like that we're only going to really get this concrete information when the console actually comes out. But the other thing here, kind of thing I think, which is a little bit more, there's two other items here that I think are more interesting or to people who are into the whole used game market. One is trade in and resell your disc-based games. Today, some gamers, I love the wording on this. It's such a fucking corporate jerk-off. Today, some gamers choose to sell their old disc-based games back for cash or credit. No. We designed Xbox One so game publishers can enable you to trade in your games at participating retailers. Microsoft does not charge a platform fee to retailers, publishers, or consumers for enabling transfer of these games. This, and to be honest, the only good thing about the Xbox One was the fact that it might fucking destroy GameStop. And this is the wording on this is oh yeah, so now EA and GameStop have some deals so that you can sell your Xbox One game back to them for $10 worth of Xbox One credit. It just seems like it's even, in the words of Lando Calrissian, this deal keeps getting worse all the time. What does that even mean? I mean, it sounds like the publishers are going to be the ones that are totally in charge of whether or not you can do this, and that if you can't do it, you're only going to be able to do it at Best Buy, Walmart, and GameStop. So not only are they chopping the knees out of used game sales, they're they're creating a monopoly so that you can't even have an independent game store buy stuff over eBay or things like that, because you can only trade your shit back into some jerk off over at GameStop. You're
There is only one way to stop GameStop.
Oh yeah?
Bears.
Is this more that catapult talk that you've been talking about?
Catapults and bears. We just launched bears into every GameStop location. People will stop going if you're shopping at GameStop and there's a threat that a bear might crash through the window, land on you, and then maul everyone.
So that's what Jason has kind of broke the news a little bit early, but when we get back from E3, that's our new project. We're going to create the Bearapult, and then we're going to take it around Austin and shoot bears at things.
I think
who wants to back that Kickstarter, Kevin?
Yeah, I might. If I get to be in the game. No, but Microsoft or GameStop should just go to war with this whole idea and get together with, some other more struggling developers, publishers, and just be like, hey, don't use this restriction on the resale, and we'll promote the hell out of your game.
Yeah.
And we'll just not promote Electronic Arts or Ubisoft or whoever is, trying to enforce this. And they control such a vast market of people that go in and out of their stores that they could just punish the publishers for using this feature and completely raise up a game developer that's willing to forego that copy protection.
Holy shit, I just had the best idea. What if GameStop launched an attack PR campaign where they allied themselves with the Tea Partiers, and they're like, Microsoft is trying to take your rights away. They don't want you to own your own games, and get out there. Oh, they could lobby Congress. It'll be crazy. Then they'll be like the downtrodden, the lost cause. They'll be the underdogs, and everybody will be rooting for them. Oh man, Microsoft is trying to put GameStop out of business. We have to stop it. And then they'll be like Chick-fil-A, and everybody will go to GameStop one Sunday to buy used games to show their support. Oh, we live in a fucked up world, you guys.
Remember the 5th of November. Was it the 5th? I can't remember.
I don't know. We don't have Nick on this show anymore, so he was the only one who could tell us that.
The only reason somebody's going to buy a used game is because they can't really afford the new one. In most cases, I know there's that bullshit where you go into GameStop and they're like, well, you can get $5 off if you take the used piece of shit copy. And you're like, no, I'll take the new one. And then they give you a used one anyway that the box is already open and they take the discount and put it in there because the guy took it home that night. I don't know.
Exactly.
But the thing is that, that's what the whole used game market's for. It's for kids and things that, just really can't go pay retail. There's some people that, maybe don't want to, but the thing is that this isn't going to push them to go spend more money. It's not like I'm going to take my $60 and, oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to go buy the game now because I'm screwed any other way. I'll probably go find some other form of entertainment to do with my money. And they're going to start to shrink the video game market because I think that people that buy used games also buy new games. And by, restricting down this stuff, you're just cutting your audience off at the legs and basically making it so they find other forms of entertainment. They'll play their $1 iPhone games, or they'll start a band and rock out. I have no idea, but they're going to do something else.
Start a band. Kids don't do anything these days besides play video games, Kevin. No, but it's actually funny when I was talking about somebody about this, where you say that if some of the stuff gets pushed to the point where it gets too gross and everybody's doing it, I think it's really possible that in the next 5 to 10 years, we might see essentially the second PC renaissance, where everybody's just like, well, fuck it, man. I could plug a controller into my PC. It runs all these games and I can get it for half the price on Steam. Fuck your console, why would I pay $400 for a console, if that's even what they are, when I could pay $600 for a PC, get access to my entire back Steam library, buy games. This weekend when we're recording this, Saints Row the Third is $10 on Steam right now. It's $9.99 on Steam with a free-to-play weekend. So you play it for free all weekend, you buy it for $10.
Yeah. I think this, if they're not careful, this will reinvigorate PC gaming.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, I think PC gaming's kind of been on life support, and that life support was pretty much called MMOs. And also Steam has just been, a lot of people like you are starting to really be the standard bearers for how awesome it is and how cheap you can get games on there. And I got to admit, it's really compelling. So maybe this will start pushing more developers to say, hey, it's not as restrictive, and our customers like that, and it's a much more consumer friendly platform, even though, that's the thing. It's not used games that anybody cares about. It's cheap games. So if you make them affordable, people will come. But if you keep them what Saints Row the Third until Was it Saints Row the Third? It was still like up until this weekend was still like $60. It still is $60.
It's
right?
still, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that it's still like $50 or $60? Like games on
for
demand,
consoles.
Yeah, games on demand on Xbox Live. If you buy it directly off the PlayStation 3, but I think it's going free on the PlayStation Plus service. But right now, if you want to go buy a console version of Saints Row the Third, you are hard pressed to find one that is less than $50. I mean, unless you're going like, okay, once again, if you're going into the used market, then yes. But this is a game that's been out for a long time. Like, there's no good reason for this shit to still be $50. So, any console version of Saints Row right now, brand new copy of Saints Row the Third, digital distribution on the Xbox, box copies on Amazon, is generally around $50. This weekend, it is $10 on Steam. And to me, this whole the whole argument that people are having about used games and about digital distribution, stuff like that, the reason that Steam works for that stuff is because Steam slashes the shit out of their prices. Like,
but I think both of you guys are missing something.
What's that?
No, you don't have Kinect on the PC.
Oh man, sold. I'm gonna go get my Steam box up and running today.
So did I tell you there was one of the funniest things I heard from the Microsoft conference last week was that they were letting like the press into this room. I don't remember what they call it. It's got a real long name, but it's one of those rooms where it's like all the walls are covered with sound dampening material. There's not even like a floor. It's like a mesh, and there's sound dampening material on the floor. So it's like one of those rooms where if you go in and you close the door, there's literally no sound in there. So all you can hear is like your heart pumping and the sound of the blood rushing through your veins. Like people, like if you read about these rooms, people who go in there, some of them will throw up and pass out. Some of them will go crazy and they want to get out as soon as they can. Like, it's supposed to be a really intense experience having no external sound.
What is it called again?
Anna something. Like,
yeah.
I don't remember the exact. All I remember is somebody online talking about it being the Anaconda room, and I was like, all right, sounds good enough for me. But apparently, they have one of these rooms on the Microsoft campus. This is where they test the Kinect voice functionality. Like, in this room it's so quiet that people go crazy in it. This is where they do testing for the Kinect. I mean, I'm sure they have other places, but I'm just like, you guys are missing the point, man. I would build a rave to test the Kinect in to make sure that nothing is ever going to dick with the inputs on it.
They haven't. I mean, regarding Kinect, they haven't been very clear either on the whole privacy policy of the new Kinect, because, previous to this, they were talking about marketing in the sense that with a higher resolution camera, they can now see if you drink Coke in the room, or if you have certain brand name products, and that way they can market to you because of what you actually have on you when you're in the room. This is the sort of thing that I'm, a bit concerned about, really, because I don't know when that camera is now on and what's actually being recorded.
Jeff's gonna start getting coupons for lotion and Kleenex. It's like, what's it? Oh, Kinect.
And this really weird porno just showed up at my house. I don't know where it came from. Actually, part of the information they put out last week was, as far as the Kinect goes, there's a huge problem with the Kinect, because generally the messaging that Microsoft has is that when they first put it out, they're like, the Kinect is always on, and the reason for that is so that when your Xbox is in hibernate or turned off, you can go Xbox on, and it's just like, well, turn it on. But they've been very quick to message a lot of this, like, well, you could turn it off. You could turn off the functionality. I'm pretty sure that the people that are paranoid about getting watched on their couch by the Kinect aren't going to believe that you put the switch on off and that shit isn't still looking at you.
Yeah,
I'm 2001.
I'm kind of that way. I mean, if the NSA is monitoring my phone calls, how long until they're like talking to Microsoft and they're like, we'd like to tap into the Kinect, and then they'll just be like spying on all of us.
I have a feeling we could make a fortune. We're going to sell branded little pieces of electrical tape that are just big enough to go over the Kinect, the camera on the Kinect.
Now, is it? I forget. In the Xbox One, is it part of the chassis now, or is it still a separate device?
It's still a separate device. It's still a separate thing that you can put on top or below your TV. But the thing that I think has been pretty clear is that it does have to be plugged in order for you to boot up your Kinect or your Xbox.
What the shit?
When your Xbox comes on, if you don't have the Kinect plugged in, it'll be like, hey, turn your Kinect on, or plug your Kinect in. What the fuck's wrong with you? Plug your Kinect in.
What a crock. Oh, I hate you.
Has to have a camera on and has to be connected to the internet. No, it'll never get hacked. You know, it's such a bad idea.
Well, I was reading something last week. There is already a subculture of hackers that do nothing but like hack into the webcams on people's laptops and watch them.
Ratters. Ratters is what they're called. Yeah.
Like
remote. I think it's like remote access technology or something like that. So ratters.
Like how long? Just how long until that shit? I mean, I guess that's the thing.
I give it a week. Seriously.
Before somebody's in there.
Surprised it hasn't already happened.
I just feel that there's going to be more Kinects wrapped up in a towel or a washcloth or a blanket or something just hanging off of one side of your entertainment center than actually functioning and pointed at the people on the couch. But
God, Allison's going to smash it with a hammer.
Yeah, we had that one bad Kinect day, and unfortunately that's kind of fucked it up for everybody.
That's not something you forget very, very soon when you realize, oh shit, all these people on Battlefield have been listening to me and everything that happens in my house for the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
That's the other thing too. I mean, just the Kinect being mandatory. I mean, that's basically saying now that I'm going to have to like wave my hands around and things when I play games, right? I mean, they're basically going to make it so that's just part of every game. So I'm now stuck with it.
I don't honestly know. I don't honestly know. When we talked about this before, I was saying I actually kind of like the idea of some of the new Kinect, just because, the fact that every Xbox is going to come with Kinect means that you could build like some voice stuff into your game. So you're not actually waving your arms around, but you're using a controller and you're just using, you're talking to your TV more when it comes to playing a video game. That could be interesting, but yeah, I hope it's not. I have a real hard time with who exactly the Xbox One is being marketed to. Because it doesn't seem like they're making a lot of friends with quote unquote like hardcore gamers, like old, like us. Like we've been playing games for a long time, like games, not casual gamers or mobile gamers or anything like, kids or old people or any of that stuff. Just like dudes what want to shoot junk with a controller. They don't seem to be making a lot of friends with a lot of this messaging because the people who seem to be the most vocal about this are people like us. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're going to make it the whole thing into just like watch Star Trek and play high-res Wii games on this system.
I don't want to have a situation where my neighbor's walking by my house and he just hears me screaming, like, kill him, shoot him in the head right now. I mean, it's just, there's a million things I can see that I don't want to be yelling at my TV screen. And I don't really want to be having like that weird conversation. I'm a grown man. I don't really want to have a conversation with my video games, to be honest with you.
Well, the last little piece of news here that came out of this Xbox thing that I thought was kind of interesting, I'm just going to read this one verbatim.
Wait, before we go into that, I just had this awful, there's going to be some game developers with some Sam and Max-like senses of humor where, okay, but you can't finish the level until you say it. Say, I'm a pretty princess. I'm a pretty princess. Say it louder. I'm a pretty princess. Okay, level unlocked. Go right ahead.
You have to scream, I want to kiss all the boys at your TV in order to get to level 2.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so the last little piece here is in the I'm just going to read this. Xbox One is designed so game publishers can enable you to give your disc-based games to your friends. There are no fees charged as part of these transfers. There are 2 requirements. You can only give them to people who have been on your friends list for at least 30 days, and each game can only be given once. Like, it's too little, too late, man. Like, I just don't. I mean, that's really restrictive. And just there's that one little piece in there, the very first sentence. Xbox One is designed so game publishers can enable you to give your disc-based game to friends. Like, okay, well, all the publishers seem to be on this tear where they're like, we want $60 for every copy forever, and you can never do anything with it except play it when your console is online.
And they want to enable you to be able to give it to a friend, so you can't sell it at GameStop unless they said, okay, you just bought this used game. Here's who you have to add on your friends list so that you can play it, and you can't play it for another 30 days.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Another thing I concern myself with is the long-term aspect of some of these games and being able to play them, sort of like in the future.
Like 20 years, 30 years from now type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if they redo them like Halo 2 or whatever, but I mean, at some point they just stop you couldn't play Halo 2 anymore, and a lot of these games are going to they're going to just deactivate them. I mean, Electronic Arts does that today with a lot of their games. Their online features, they constantly, about every 2 years, you can no longer access their online features. But here we're talking about not being able to access the game at all. Yeah. And that's, to me, is, it's a little bit disturbing because you're going to lose that property completely. Somebody's not going to be able to ever play it again.
It's like these are the consequences of the cloud. And there was an article recently, I think it was an interview with The Guardian, that the guy that created GNU, can't remember his name, he was saying, he's like, the cloud is stupid. It enables, he's like, if you're using a web-based email client, you're an idiot, because essentially they're getting everything to where you don't have access to it on your computer, and they have all of your stuff. So you're going to have to pay increasingly higher fees once they get everyone hooked. And I think this is, kind of a tangent of that.
Yeah. I mean, it very much, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing rolls out. I actually got an email from somebody who was saying that they predicted that all this increased DRM and all of this kind of the new cloud-based stuff and whatever is actually going to bolster piracy instead of combating it, because you're just going to have people who are so hell-bent on getting around this shit, they're going to have to become smarter and more clever in order to figure out ways to get around streaming and cloud-based stuff, about figuring out ways to hack that shit out of the cloud and back into a local space to run it locally. Which is an interesting thing to think about. I mean, you think about the fact that talking before about how the Xbox 360, your games that you bought on the Xbox 360 are not going to transfer over to the Xbox One. So if you have an Xbox 360 and it breaks and all those, and you can't buy another one, all that stuff is essentially lost to you. And probably the only way that you're going to be able to get it back at a certain point is you're going to be buying it again through some kind of collection thing or going to piracy. And it's weird to think that game piracy might actually end up being our history for video games. Yeah. That only these versions that have been hacked up and chopped up and made so they can run offline, or they can run on spoof servers, or they can bypass the checks that you need in order to play your game or whatever, that these may be the only versions of those games that we see moving forward into the future that are held, for all time. That the fucking Razer 911 museum with, all of the old Xbox One games in it.
That is how it is today, though. I think in a lot of cases, when you look at a lot of older games, most of those ROMs that you find are hacked ROMs or, hacked versions of games that remove the copy protection. Mm-hmm. Because you just, what are you supposed to do? Whip out the Commodore 64 and the disk drive and get the game going right now on some composite TV? You're never going to do it,
Or you dig out your old code wheel for Monkey Island or something like that.
Yeah. Or one of the what was it on the Sierra games? You had like that red strip of gel, plastic gel that you had to look through so you could see the text on the red pages.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that you could get in. or even better, the Leisure Suit Larry trivia, where it's like, which one of these was not a member of the Rat Pack?
Nobody knows who the Rat Pack is anymore, Jason, except for you. All right, well, that's all the Xbox news that we have. I want to talk about one more story here real fast, and then we're going to take a few emails. And I'm sure that everybody can tell what story it is that I want to bring up. There was the Konami pre-E3 press show last week, and I had forgotten, you guys. I was actually kind of excited on Thursday. I woke up and I watched it, and I was like, yeah, Konami E3 press show, and it was only, I think, 30 minutes long, and about 10 minutes in, I was like, oh yeah, these things always suck. Like it's just some dudes coming out, and it's like, buzzword, 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 buzzword. We'll see you at E3. But as expected, they trotted out my man Kojima to talk a little bit about Metal Gear Solid 5, and there was kind of the big reveal that apparently, and there's a lot of conspiracies that this may not be the case, Kiefer Sutherland is going to be the new voice of Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Are you okay?
I'm really conflicted, Jason, because I'm a big fan of 24. Like, Jack Bauer's the shit. But I've been listening to David Hayter do Solid Snake for fucking 10 years now? Longer than that. It's got to be long. When did Metal Gear Solid come out originally?
Oh, hell, man. That was 99?
Something like that. 98.
Yeah.
So what is that? 15 years that he's been the voice of Solid Snake. But I mean, I can kind of understand a little bit in that the fact that they're doing full facial capture and full motion capture. And so it's I feel like as the systems of video games for emotion and motion capture get better, you're going to have to start using more professional actors because you're going to be able to see more detail, stuff like the facial movements and eye movements and stuff like that, that is going to convey the emotion to the player more. So you're going to need people that are professionals that can do that.
If Kevin had actually backed the Kickstarter, he would have been Solid Snake. And they would have
yes.
I could handle that. I could handle a big Solid Snake. I could just go over to my friend's house. We could play the new Metal Gear and be like, I know that guy. I totally work with that dude.
And what is David Hayter? Does this have any effect on the restraining order he has on you?
No.
Okay.
I'm still not allowed within 400 feet, I believe. This is 300 feet. After that one time that I saw him in L.A. It's actually weird. David Hayter kind of looks a little bit like John Romero. Kind of strange. It's like a picture of
Really?
Just a little bit. But, there's also, so you've got the fact that Kiefer Sutherland is doing this. People have been asking me about this, and I just want to say, I want to hear him do the voice. Because, he is kind of a gravelly voice. Snake has kind of a gravelly voice. I think that if he is trying to affect a Solid Snake-ish kind of tone in his voice, it'll probably be okay. If he's just doing Kiefer Sutherland, it's gonna make my brain catch on fire because I'm just like, it's not Solid Snake, it's Jack Bauer. Fucking Jack Bauer.
Shouldn't it just be Kurt Russell doing his Snake Plissken voice? Shouldn't that just be what it is?
Yes.
You'd think
Solid
so.
Snake Plissken.
At this point, I mean, there have been, at this point, I mean, you guys can take a look at this picture I just posted down there, but at this point, Solid Snake is looking quite a bit like he's looking a lot more Escape from New York than he used to. This is of course Big Boss with the eye patch and everything. It was
Escape
kind of
from New York
anyway.
looks like Escape from the Soup Kitchen.
The only other thing to maybe mention about this just briefly is that there's been a lot of rumoring going around on the internet that this whole thing is a gigantic goddamn fake out, and that this character is actually not the Solid Snake main character, that it's a side character, and that Hideo Kojima is just jerking us all around with the motion capture or with the Kiefer Sutherland stuff. So
Bauer Snake.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I really, this is probably, to go tie it back to E3, this is probably the thing that I most want to get my sticky little fingers on at E3 if humanly possible. Which hopefully.
And literally sticky.
I already set up a booth appointment to see Dark Souls 2 at the Namco Bandai booth. So.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I'm going to have to bring a tranquilizer gun.
I'll just call you on my phone and be like, Jason, it's happening again. I can't breathe. All right, hold on. Oh, it's so much better. Or maybe it'll just be like Blue Velvet. I could just bring some poppers.
Maybe wants to fuck. See Jeff shirtless and Beard all disheveled, humping the Dark Souls display. I told you not to do this.
I actually, it's funny. I actually think that you act all cynical and shit, Jason, but I think that once you step foot once you get out in front of the convention center and you see the 2-story tall, Assassin's Creed Black Flag advertisements, and then once you step foot in the floor and you see, basically, it's like going into a game store, except that you've never played any of these goddamn games, and they're all just the games that you have been interested in for the last 2 years. And
okay.
Shit in there you haven't even seen before. Just like, what is that? That was awesome.
All right. I am looking forward to seeing Elder Scrolls Online.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about it, but I'm very, very curious.
What about that new Wolfenstein, bro? Come on.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Show me. Skeptical of all of the things because they're all lies.
If you're even remotely skeptical, you won't wait in the lines anyway because they're so long. You have to be really excited about some, new stuff.
Hey, do they do the Disney thing where they let people in wheelchairs and stuff to the front of the line? No reason. I don't have a wheelchair in my office right now. I do. But no, seriously, do they do that?
No, they don't.
Shit.
No. Kevin, is there any particular game or whatever that you might be interested in seeing news come out of E3 for?
I haven't really heard too much. I'm not really sure what game-wise is coming. I mean, I'm familiar with what you guys were just talking about, but not really. No.
Okay.
Last year seemed like the bigger game sort of E3. This one's more hardware for me.
See, I honestly think that this year is going to be a really good year because there is so much unknown. Like we have that announcement from Microsoft that they're going to do 15 system exclusive titles and 7 of them are original IPs, and there's stuff from the Sony conference that I want to see more of. So it's possible that for the first time in 2 or 3 years, that instead of waiting for a game that has been in development for 2 or 3 years, we're going to see the genesis of maybe some new properties. I goddamn well hope, because if this year's just another fucking sequel storm, Jesus. Like if they bring out the PlayStation 4 and they're just like, and here's Final Fantasy 14. Well, they're obviously going to have Final Fantasy whatever, 15, I guess, is the next one. But if it's all just more sequels, look, here's a new God of War. Look, here's new Uncharted. I know they have a new Killzone already, but if it's just nothing but that, I'm getting burned out on. I got sequelitis. I got problems with sequels these days. It's been nothing but that for like the last 2 years. Sequel after sequel after sequel. So
yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, we saw a couple last year, but hell, a couple of them still haven't even materialized, like Watch Dogs.
True.
So I don't know. Maybe we are going to see a ton of sequels, but again, if you want innovation and new stuff, you got to go to the indie developers and look at stuff that's on like XBLA and Steam.
Yeah.
And those people are going to be there, so I'm going to go check some of them out.
I wonder if they're going to have the military booth like they had in 2011. A bunch of army dudes playing Call of Duty in like this camouflage netting booth. It was weird. I was like, I don't understand what's going on over here. But
got a lot of those Android consoles that are probably going to be there too, like the Ouya, the Game Stick. There's that new one that's like a $7 a month charge. Apparently it's going to play iOS games. That one's weird. You just pay $7 a month and you get unlimited games. And then there's that, I think the one's fake. It's called the Oten console. Otan. It's Oten. The guy, I don't know. The guy, that's what he calls it. He made the, one of these, independent game consoles that you can't buy anymore, or you can never find, but apparently he did sell it. And it has like a built-in, projector on the back, so you can project your games against the wall, and it makes your own video games.
what?
It makes new levels to the games you play. Yeah, and they had a press conference and everything, and they've got like a hardware sample, and the guy did create a real game system before and like sold it. But
Kevin, I'm gonna give you a new feature every week where you just come on to be like, hey, you know what you don't know about? Let me tell you something you have no idea about.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna make up some crazy shit right now. It sounds amazing and awesome.
Just do a search for OTON.
Otan.
Yeah, you think it's Otan. Watch the press conference. The guy who's in charge calls it Oten.
Okay.
So I'm like, does he know the name of his own console? Because I don't think that's how you say it. But do a search on it and you'll see all about it. And it's, but I don't know. They're looking for fundraising and things like that to get it going. And I don't know if that one will materialize, but there's these other 3 systems that are, they're going to be showing, and possibly more, so I don't know.
Did you ever, you got your, Ouya, right?
You know what? I ordered one of the limited edition ones. They were one of the last ones to get shipped out, and actually it may be at my house today. So,
okay.
I'm just waiting for it. Yeah.
We got a friend of ours got one, so when we get back, we're going to take a look at that.
I hear it's not so good right now. Heard it's not so great.
Well, what I hear is that once you put the first thing it asks you when you start it up is to put a credit card number in, and there is no way to ever disconnect that credit card number from that console. So we're going to borrow John from over at Geek Bombast console, and we're going to buy 1 million copies of Minecraft and see about breaking his credit card number. It's going to be fun. All right. Well, you know what? We're just about out of time, but before we go, I got like 4 emails I'm going to read, and these should go pretty fast, since none of them are real super in-depth. First email comes in from Sean. Sean says, I couldn't resist here. How do you feel knowing that your last happy hour ever was for the Nancy Drew game?
I think that's completely respectable.
I do too. I think it was a fitting end that we came in, we did our jobs, and sometimes you got to play Nancy Drew games.
It was worse than Boba Fett getting knocked into the Sarlacc.
Did you know that there was a guy, this real nice guy, who sent me an email at the Rage Select email, RageSelect at Gmail right now, basically offering to do Let's Plays for us specifically of the Nancy Drew games. Like, he has played all of them and got platinum medals in a whole bunch of them for doing everything in the game. And I watched videos online, and it was like, that is all, just, if that guy is listening, bro, that is totally awesome. We don't really have a space right now to be that specific about Nancy Drew games, but I appreciate this guy. I mean, you know, he knows what he likes. He likes those fucking Nancy Drew games. He wants to play them.
You know, true story. I think the very first loading bar was, before we called it the loading bar, we reviewed Nancy Drew.
Really?
Yeah, and Corey and I actually spoke to the president of Her Interactive and did a complete interview with her.
Really?
But he never posted the interviews. We did a couple of interviews with 2 different companies, and yeah, we totally talked to her and about everything, about their plans and all that stuff. Yep.
Wow. So you're telling me that the loading bar began and ended with Nancy Drew?
Yes, we came full circle.
Man, doomed from the start. Did she say anything about farming out the captions to like illiterate children in like the jungles of the Andes or something?
There were more misspellings in the captions of that game than we've ever seen in a video game before. Just like every 4th word was just fucked up.
Wait, are there even jungles in the Andes?
It's a mountain, so I would assume not. Are there jungle mountains? Mountain jungles? Mountain jungles?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't care.
Go outside. Outside
Yes.
is for losers.
Yes, there are.
Okay. Cool.
They make mints, Andy's mints. That's all I know.
You can tell that we're a bunch of real rugged outdoorsmen here. Yeah. So the next question is from Michael, and it says, "Hey guys, first I want to thank you for your dedication. New show looks great, and I'll be listening regularly. Thank you. I wanted to ask you if you see a future for interactive fiction in the video game medium beyond the pop." Wait, okay, I'm sorry, I'm reading this all wrong. I'm not used to reading these emails. That was usually another guy's job. I wanted to ask you if you see a future for interactive fiction in the video games medium, given the popularity of The Walking Dead and the incredible look of the upcoming Beyond Two Souls. Also, are you guys excited for Beyond Two Souls? Thank you so much, and good luck for the rest of the show, Michael.
Yes, I think Walking Dead at least assured that we're going to get some more stuff like that over the next couple of years. You know, until, I don't know, maybe it's just a fad. It's kind of been a fad before, you know, but yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that to come, good and bad.
I think that for me, I think The Walking Dead was almost, I mean, it's been done before, but The Walking Dead was, to me, like almost proof of concept that if you have a really well-crafted story, you don't need the world's most complicated gameplay. And in fact, in some cases, you can get away with not very even all that much gameplay at all, which, I mean, I said it in the review for Walking Dead. I mean, as an adventure game, like compared to old, like LucasArts adventure games and stuff like that, Walking Dead was very simple, like as a game, just as mechanically as a game. But the real meat of that was in the actual interaction with the characters and the storytelling, which if they can get that much attention from that sort of game, then of course I think I'm interested in Beyond Two Souls. I want to know what the hell that game is. I like everything that that company does. what is that? Quantic Dream.
Yeah,
Quantic
I'm
Dream.
curious. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know much about it, but the little bit that I have watched looks pretty cool.
Yeah, Kevin, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I apologize. I thought it was a question just for you guys, so I wasn't listening.
No, just interactive fiction. Do you think we're going to see more and more interactive fiction, a la Walking Dead and Beyond Two Souls, less gamey games and more story-driven?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, the big companies are more interested in just making more Call of Duty games, but you do see a lot of that in the independents, and hopefully more game studios, pick those up and release them. So I hope so.
Okay. And I think I'm going to do one more question here. This one is from Lloyd. And this is one just kind of technical thing. Hey guys, longtime fan here who's never asked a question, so here it goes. I've noticed that every happy hour is always around 30 minutes long. Is there an actual reason for doing this, or is it just your preferred video time? Also, are there any chances of seeing some of the old crew making some guest appearances? Thanks for reading, Lloyd. Well, Lloyd, wave to Lloyd, Kevin. Hi, Lloyd.
Hey, Lloyd.
Lloyd, Kevin, Lloyd.
As far as the 30-minute thing, we've had a bunch of people, I kind of wanted to address this. We have a bunch of people saying, why don't you guys start doing stuff that's more than 30 minutes? And to be really brutally honest about it, we need to take breaks because we're old men who get tired and shit and cold real easy. So 30 minutes is a good amount of time for us to go. It's a good file size. It's easy to video to work with, and it gives us a chance to not get burned out.
I think it also allows the person watching it not to get burned out too. It compartmentalizes what you guys are doing. I think it's smart.
Right. I mean, we'd always, we'd love to be able to kind of go forever, but just like Kevin says, eventually, you get tired of watching something for that long.
At about 30 minutes, depending on the game, usually we're just like, all right, all the funny is gone.
Yeah.
It's time to move on.
Okay, we need to take a break. We need to get the strippers back in here and do some rails off the butts, and then we'll get back to it.
Butt rails.
Butt rails. So, everybody, I think that's about the end of episode 2. If you want to send in some emails to me, you can send them right now to rageselect@gmail.com. Kevin,
do you want the 900 emails that we never read? Bill?
No.
Okay.
They've got the email address. If they're listening, they can come in. I mean, at this point, it is entirely possible that some of those people aren't even listening to this show. So
yeah, that's true.
I hate to be answering questions from people who aren't even listening, especially what's your favorite horror game? Jason, here, I'll do a little reenactment. Jason, what's your favorite horror game?
Fuck you.
What's your favorite? You. If there was a game based on music that was about eating things, which game would you like to be in the most?
Oh, God. Corpophilia.
Well, Kevin, thanks for coming. I hope that you will join us. I'd love to have you just come on when we record the show.
Sure, anytime. It was a lot of fun. Absolutely.
Okay. And everybody stay tuned because next week we're going to have our normal Let's Plays up. We're going to try to – I think we've got enough to do 5 days. I'm pretty sure. We got to record the last 2 of them today. But we also are going to have trailers. We're going to have streams of the news conference. We're going to have all kinds of great stuff. We're going to have a daily podcast. Jason and I get back, stumble back to our hotel in a whiskey-soaked haze to talk about the dumb shit that we saw and the awesome shit that we saw and everything in between.
Can you bring booze into the LA Convention Center?
I don't believe so.
Shit.
I think you could bring like a bottle of water or something, but I don't think. I mean, I know you have that keg with the backpack straps on it, but I don't think they're going to let you bring that in there.
I'll just tell them I'm cosplaying as a Big Daddy.
They do sell or give away drinks sometimes, or sell. There's lots of drinks in the bag behind. Like if they let you in the bag, like if any of the things, they'll give you a drink. And then I know Nintendo had a bar, believe it or not, 1 year. I think that was for Conquer when they were pushing that, and then. Good Old Games when they were still around, God Games. They had a whole thing across the street where they were cooking food and had free beer and everything. So,
see, what I want to see is in 2011 when I went, Saints Row the Third had a classic car show / wash in the parking lot with ladies dressed up in Saints Row bikinis washing
nice.
Pimped out Impalas and stuff. It was very strange, and they had so much NOS. They had the biggest buckets It was like the oil drum filled up with ice and just nothing but NOS energy drinks from the top to the very bottom of it. It was crazy. That shit was bananas. Anyway.
Okay. I found a few things I am excited about E3 for. So, in this last 45 seconds.
Well, check back everybody next week, and we will see you next Monday for another episode of Unnamed Rage Select Podcast.